Hello, my name is Alexander Morari, and I'm the founder of ITKeyMedia. You've tuned into our podcast about Central and Eastern European startups that are in pre-Series A stage. And our guest today is Gustas Germanavicius, the co-founder of InRento. This is a platform that allows investors to make their money work in various real estate projects. And this is the first European licensed buy-to-let crowdfunding platform. Is this good definition?
Yeah, that's about it. Hi, Alex. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, hi, Labas Ritas. We had some issues with setting up this podcast, but I think this is a good beginning for the new year, and that's a signal for everybody there. Whatever the issues and challenges you have, with the good, trust and cooperation, you will overcome them. So we usually start with the warm-up, and I cannot miss the question to ask how you like the Shaolin places when you spend there, how long and why did you go there in the first place?
I once read in a book that you can go live like with Shaolin monks in mountains and train Kung Fu. It's nothing about religion or meditation. It's mainly about doing sports and martial arts. And I once read about this like 10 years ago in a book. And I thought, well, this is really cool. I would really want to be there. And then later on, I read somewhere on the internet that you can just actually come and train, and you don't have to, get in touch before reserve or anything. You just show up. And if you'll be successful, you can just come in, So this is what I did. I just flew to China and climbed the mountain, knocked on the door, said, hi, it's me. I want to come. They said, like, you can come if you will train. And that's about it. And then I spent like a week in the temple doing sports 6 hours a day, waking up like 4 a.m. It was like really nice experience in my life.
Did you know specifically what monastery or what Shaolin school, whatever you were going to, or that was just by chance?
I knew it.
Did you get in touch with them before, by the way?
No, you cannot get in touch before. So you just you just go there and so it's like, I know that there are a few places, like maybe 2 or 3 in whole China, but the one that I was really confident about, like at least I found some information on the internet. So it was like in the west of China. So you don't have direct flights from Europe to there. So I flew I changed 3 flights, then I took a train like for 12 hours, and then I took a taxi for 2 hours, and then I climbed the mountain for 2 hours. So it was like...
And then Panda Drive.
Panda Drive.
Yeah, by Panda. I mean, Panda gave you a lift as well, okay?
Yeah, so it was like,
wow,
really long journey, but it was well worth it. I think that a lot of people who came there, they came to search something, like higher meaning for life or, some sort of purpose. I didn't go there for these
You just
reasons.
wanted to kick some ass there, right?
More or less, I just wanted, I was just very curious, and I just wanted to see how it all looks and how it all feels, So for me, maybe other people can share, different experience. Like from my experience, I didn't have reached some sort of level of enlightenment, so to say, but I just had like very good time. I saw, what it takes, to train like a monk and be a monk. And it's like very rigorous, it's like a lot of discipline. It's very hard. You work a lot, you grind, and it's similar to a startup,
Yeah. That's what I wanted to make this bridge as well, of course. And just before we do this, the question about your accommodation and all these expenses and so on, you just work in exchange for training, I guess, and you contribute your physical labor, and or do you pay for staying there?
You have to donate like a little bit to stay there, but it's very little. Like I think I paid like something like 100 euros for a week, but you get food, so it's like it's really cheap.
Plenty of rice, I guess.
But you must train. Like it's not like you need to train. You must train, and you must train all those hours, because these are not some monks that we see in European churches. It's like these monks are hardcore. They are like athletes. If you don't train, they will hit you with a stick. They will say to you, do 100 push-ups. You don't do 100 push-ups, they will shout, they will hit you with a stick until you do 100 push-ups. That's it.
This is
they
true
say,
story with
yeah,
100
yeah,
people.
yeah, you do what they say. If you don't comply, you go away. If you train for like 3 hours and you say you're tired, they say, this one, they don't speak too much English, but this one monk used to say, uh, no pain, no gain. And and he would walk around and say, no pain, no gain. And he says, practice makes perfect, and and basically you cannot kid around, like you just do what they say, and you're just blessed, like when you reach the evening, like no more training, and I can just go to sleep, you're so happy. Like it's very simple. Where it's like people go to some you know monasteries, for silence or for something, and you get enlightened and you get very happy for doing something. In my case, I'm just happy not to be training with them anymore. It's like
okay, that's your cleansing, right? That's your cleansing. You came for like to stick it literally as well. And you survived, and you left because you had enough, or they fired you, or it just was end of your stay as planned?
Oh, for me, it was like I kept a pretty open schedule. So for me, I plan to be there somewhere between 1 week and 2 weeks. And like,
Yeah.
if you just come there for fun, like 1 week is plenty. Like you cannot come for earlier than a week. You can stay more, but like people I found there, they're like searching for something. And I just realized, it's not for me. I know what I want, I don't need to search anymore. So
Okay.
so,
And last question, there's no connection to internet, I understand.
Oh no connection to internet, nothing. Like you just there like for a week without nothing, like barely any electronics, like you can obviously, there's like a power outlet, but I think there's like 2 outlets, for all monastery, like for 30 people. So
yeah,
but it's really
to announce a third world war or similar, or advent of UFO and for some really major events. Gustas, with this, let's finish this podcast. That's very interesting. Thank you very much for this contribution. Of course, I'm joking. Let's come back to our world of like more digital and tech kind of reality. We will go from round to round. Round one, the solution. How would you describe what you're doing? And just to remind, the company is called InRento, and that's a promising prop tech company, right?
So InRento is a platform which enables people to invest from just 500 euros into rental properties. So basically, investors invest, diversify, and just like in the real investing in actual rental property, you get both rental income, and when the property appreciates in value, you also get capital growth. So basically, we serve clients who either don't have enough money to buy the actual rental property, or have money but don't want to manage it. So they get the benefits of investing, it's passive income, you don't have to manage it, deal it with the tenants, upkeep the property, and they can also sell their investment at any time on the secondary market. So it's also a big benefit for them is the liquidity compared to the actual rental property.
Yeah, kind of clear, of course. And then I would say what's pretty original is that it's not a crowdfunding platform for buying, investing into real estate and then appreciate, but also take gain from ongoing lease agreements, right? And rental revenues.
Yes.
Usually,
Also,
yes, please.
Also add here that this one unique thing that we are also offering on holiday rentals is the timeshare opportunity. So basically, people who invest a little bit larger tickets, they also get nights to stay in the apartments or villas that they are funding. This way, the investor gets not only financial benefits, but also the benefits of the whole asset, natural benefits.
Yeah. Not the right of disposal, but also the right of disposition, right? And usage. That's interesting. And that's a little interesting, should I say, hack to attract people. Okay, it doesn't change the world for them, but that's an interesting value proposition, I would say. and not sure whether this is not unique as well. I think this is unique, right? As far as this offer for investors.
I think yes, like I think we are planning this for crowdfunding. Timeshare as itself, it's common in Western world, the US or Western Europe, but in general, what we are doing at a very limited view, you can say, we have zero innovation because what we do is we do fractional buying of rental real estate. So basically, a couple of our friends chip in, and we acquire the asset. You can say, look, zero innovation, but look, we put it on crowdfunding. We enable hundreds or thousands of people to join. We have secondary market, timeshare opportunities, capital growth. It all contributes, so we are taking something. I like to say that we make the most common investment type even more accessible in Europe.
Okay. Yeah, through digital channels. And you know what, usually with this kind of platforms, the valuation is what is usually like a very big question mark. Who is doing the valuation? How is there a conflict of interest? If you buy from a third party valuers, then there might be a case of whether or not the pricing is reasonable, the outcome of this valuation analysis is reasonable. And so, usually investors for this platform are not sophisticated real estate investors, right? And how do you marry this? How do you cover this valuation process for real estate?
The key information here is that we are not the project owner or the borrower ourselves. We are a platform. So what we do, we connect experienced real estate administrators, real estate owners to investors. So basically, we make this process look very simple, but we do a lot of hard work in the background. So basically, we do all the due diligence on the projects before listing them. So basically, we analyze basically how we score risk is basically on three elements. So we assess the project owner, the borrower, who's going to borrow the asset. So meaning what is the price compared, to third party in the independent valuations. This is all, by the way, transparent. So all our risk scorings are transparent on the platform, and also all documents related to it are also transparent. So basically, and the last thing is we assess the cash flow or the tenant. So basically, whether the cash flow is sustainable and what is the history of it. So these are the three key elements. We score them naturally. Again, I'm narrowing this down to like very simple concepts, but in general, we ask ourselves before listing a deal like more or less 20 questions. We gather all these documents. We gather all those documents based on a fact, not on an opinion. So basically, when we assess, for example, the financials, we don't, obviously we collect the documents, the financials from the company, the accounts, but also we use third-party systems, that all the banks use to score this information. Same with the property. We use the appraisal report, which is also the companies that are making the appraisal reports, they are regulated and licensed just as us. So basically, we are licensed ourselves, and we are working with the partners which are licensed. So highest quality measures are being taken.
Yeah, because usually your valuation or due diligence is as good as your service providers or your valuers, basically. And who is doing this for InRento?
So we use, for scoring financials, we use credit info. So this is the or Accessor in Spain. So all banks use it. It's very standard and very old service. For appraisal reports, we use the licensed appraisal appraisers, which are licensed in each of the given countries. So if we speak about Lithuania, they are licensed by Appraiser Association, and in Spain, they are licensed by Bank of Spain.
And you mentioned Lithuania and Spain for specific reasons. Could you explain those?
Yeah, so this is where we are live. So basically, we offer opportunities to invest in Spain and Lithuania. We just started in Spain, but we expect to grow fast next year in Spain. And we're also going to add one or two more countries to invest from.
And there's an interesting story behind your expansion to Spain as well, by the way, Gustas. Why did you decide to jump over all the other markets from Lithuania to Spain? How did you manage to do this?
I think, there's certain level of expectation that you establish to yourself. Like, I think obviously we can just go to Latvia or we can go to Poland because these are neighboring countries. But I think why not to go big? Why not to go, to fourth largest market in Europe? For us, like, obviously we don't go to UK for some legal reasons. And for us, like Spain, for our business model, is probably the largest market we can find in Europe. So that's why we selected it. There are a lot of reasons that comes down to the real estate market in particular, like, the Spanish real estate market is very well operating. If we talk about touristical rentals and short-term rentals, we are in Spain for very narrow types of properties, and these are holiday rentals. This is where we put most focus.
Holiday, yeah, okay. You mean holiday rentals, yes, okay. So seaside mostly.
Seaside, mountains, but mainly seaside. And also we have some shareholders from Spain. So, like like people in our cap table, they are from Spain. So obviously we have a good market understanding, good market know-how, and it's easy for us to operate in that market.
Okay. And I will drive you closer at the acquisition of a company as well, which is quite recently, right? I think this year, 2021. I mean, in 2021, right? You acquired a company, also Baltic, but with international roots, Singapore and all that, called Bit of Property, right? Yep. Who approached who as far as this acquisition?
It was me. So
you saw them, noticed them, right? And then you saw there's an opportunity. Why was the decision to acquire somebody like this? Like while you are in a pretty early stage and they are also, I guess, pre-A, right, as well. And we covered them in one of the podcasts, by the way. And I think this is also a historical moment for this podcast as well, when it shows how long we've been around, when one company has managed already to acquire another company also as a guest, who was a guest at the podcast. So that was interesting. First ever.
So, like the reason was very simple. So I actually knew this company also for a while, and I thought that they could contribute to our growth, and we found a mutual agreement that worked for both parties, and we acquired them. For us, to be like very frank, like we really wanted to also to add Estonia. Like, this is again like what I said before. It's a bit like doing something like going for mediocrity, but Estonia is a pretty good market if you want to do like some investment services, because although it's small, but there's capital and people are very digitally sophisticated, so they are not afraid to invest online, and this becomes like a good market. Whereas in Spain, we need to educate people, like what is InRento, how does it work, is it okay to invest online, stuff like this. Estonians don't have these questions. Yeah. So for us, the key reason was that we thought, okay, let's take the Estonian market, do a little bit of marketing there, because people understand what we are and what we do, and this will be pretty easy. But now then that we acquired them and we are working through, we saw that we basically reached a conclusion that we don't really want to go to Estonia because it's too small market, and we just now we are just benefiting from the user base, which is mainly same like Estonian, Finnish, and German and Dutch.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And then in the result of this acquisition, you would say the biggest value that you got from this acquisition was what, the technology or client base, or the team who probably joined you as well, right?
I would say it's user base. I think
interesting.
that
okay.
What we needed and what we need today is a user base. So basically, if we can acquire it at the right price, we will always acquire it. So we find more platforms, more companies that will benefit us. We are just going to acquire because we see this is an easier way for us to grow, because maybe you spend some money, but you grow faster than you would by doing some marketing. So yeah, we we are exploring other opportunities as well to follow this.
Interesting. I would say that's a very aggressive growth scenario that you have. Okay, as far as the business itself, okay, let's go through a couple of metrics. I will mention a couple, then you add on. You mentioned the minimum investment amount is 500?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the declared, nominally declared ROI or yield yearly?
So right now the yield is around, on average, 7%. I think 7.1%, 7.1%.
That's declaration or based on historical background?
This is historical average return, but from rental yield. So basically, it doesn't factor in the capital growth, which is going to follow. So obviously, we expect that this number will grow due to the capital growth that will add on the investment return.
Do you have a figure about the overall asset value on the platform right now? Like what? How would you say that? Gross merchandise value, or like what?
GMV is almost 2.6 million. So
say it again, 2.6 million euros, right?
Yes.
Okay. How many properties right now?
36 units of property.
How would you describe them in a more like universal way? This is mostly residential, I understand, mostly holidays, value-wise, mostly Spanish, right?
No, basically, if we look at Spain, it's only holidays, and this is how it's going to remain. If we look at Lithuania, this is where we are from, this is where we understand the market well, so we want to provide some diversification for our users. So, we have residential, which contributes a large share of our portfolio, but additionally, we have for example, clinics. We have a clinic, 10-year rental contract. We have a restaurant, also 10-year rental contract. We have some small offices, larger offices. We even have some warehouses. So it's very diversified in Lithuania because it's a small market and we can service, all the types. Whereas, abroad, we must focus, so when we go abroad, we take a particular niche and we go for it aggressively.
Gustas, I think this is a key potential factor for explosive growth for the company if you do not focus only on residential, which is very often the case, and expand or keep growing in commercial real estate as well. So residential is more or less understood and it's pretty widely, popularized already. But what about crowdfunding, buy to let platform for commercial real estate? Not so many, I would say.
I would say, yeah.
And out of all the asset types of commercial real estate, what do you think is the most, promising for you, even in Lithuania for 2022?
I can tell you this way, markets are dynamic. So all markets are dynamic. Equities market, real estate market, everything changes. And like the last couple of years that we lived through, and I think the next 2 years, which we are going to live through, it's heavily influenced by the COVID. Yeah. So that's why I say in Lithuania, we can afford, to diversify because, we understand the market and we understand how everything works. I guess that the key difference, with the commercial properties is that the return is higher.
Yeah.
And where I think the biggest opportunity was for our investors, and it's going to continue, is the properties which are not furnished. So, for example, we financed a clinic. So this clinic didn't have the interior done. So basically, no walls, no power outlets, no ceiling, like empty building. So, but what does it mean?
You mean shell and core? You mean shell and core just left after the previous tenant, or was it like shell and core completely?
It's shallow core, but it's new building. So basically, it's development. So the opportunity here for the investors is that the tenant will go and furnish everything. So basically, if the investors are investing and the property is like, let's say, acquired for 100K, and the tenant will go in, sign 10-year lease agreement, and then invest like 50K, it means by doing nothing, this property created value, by itself.
Yeah.
So we were successful and we already found those properties in the last year, but I think this is where the opportunity is going to live, because essentially what you want to do, like in real estate, you can create value two ways. One way by doing the development, or second by creating cash flow. So we focus on cash flow, and the more value it can be created via cash flow and the less money can be invested by the investors, obviously the investors in the long term will make the most money by capital growth.
This clinics or medical, shall we call it like medical real estate? That's interesting, really. And
for those, so everyone's doing vaccinations, everyone's doing PGR tests. A lot of people are sick, so if you're in medical industry, probably this is this is a very good time for you. So we're also very happy that we can also take some momentum of that market and apply to ours.
Okay, as far as business-wise and financials, whatever you can share with us. So what's the business model? How do you earn? What's the commission? Is there like spread on some fees on exiting, withdrawals and so on and so on?
So basically for the investor, investing is free. So there are zero fees for the investor, except if investor wants to sell early. So if he's using the secondary market, we will apply 2% secondary market sale transaction. Okay. So if we talk about the investor, the exit, no more fees for the investor. Whereas we make money for most of the financing investment platforms charging the deal originated. So basically the borrower or the project owner, you call it what you like. So we charge between 3.5% and 6% commission. So we charge it, we fundraise, and we also participate in the capital gains as well. So basically when the property is sold for profit, there are three parties that share: the investors, the borrowers, and us as InRento. So by doing this, us as a company, yes, we ensure more cash flow for ourselves, but we also align everyone's interest. So basically we are not only at the beginning of the project, but we stick till the end, and we are incentivized that this property would be sold as expensive as possible. Yeah. So this is in a nutshell. It's pretty straightforward business model.
Yes, it is. And speaking of profit share at the exit, what's the percentage there, more or less? Like real estate funds, like 220, they have this famous formula.
We do 40, 40, 20. So basically 40 goes to the investor, 40 goes to the project owner, 20% goes to us. But we also share our 20%. So basically, if you were to invest like 50K, you would get 60 and the project owner would get 40. So we also share ours with the larger investors.
So technically, where are you right now with as far as revenues and MRRs, or however you calculate it?
So basically right now, like we are at monthly revenues of 25, 30K, and our goal right now is to reach 40, 50K by early next summer.
Yeah, and this is in euros, right?
Yes.
Okay. For 2022, where do you see the biggest potential as far as MRR growth?
What we are doing, like obviously, like we have some experience with building these investment platforms, and if you want to build your own user base, like your investor community, you will spend a lot of money and it will take a lot of time, because investment services is not selling shoes. You need to have a track record. You need to ensure people trust, and there are a lot. It's very sensitive industry. So what we do is, then what you can do, you can acquire someone like we did at first, or you can also partners to scale your growth. So we are doing that intensively, and our plan in the first quarter next year, we're going to go live with one neobank. So this neobank facilitates over 20 billion euros every year in payments. So we are going to go live in their mobile banking app. So we expect this to be a significant growth. And we are also partnering with insurance companies. So basically, those that sell insurance. So we also now we just signed agreement with fourth largest one in Lithuania, or third one, I can't recall, but they are quite big. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to, we see that this is working and we can scale faster. And eventually, when you do this and you boost up, your community, then you can just enjoy, the benefits of the refer a friend campaigns. And once you get bigger track record, your community starts to grow more organically. Right now, it's growing organically, but this is definitely not the number and pace that we would be happy with. What we want to do, we want to grow at least 3 times a year. So this is the least amount of growth that we put as a goal to ourselves. So obviously grow it organically, also offering people to invest in 6-7% investments. It's not that easy. If you offer 12%, 15%, or you offer crypto, people are more eager to invest. In our case, we are not selling some sort of a magic box. We are selling something very clear, very understandable, and to a person who knows what he wants. And the person that we are serving is very risk averse. So the person that our target client is the one who used to invest in bank deposits. So imagine our daily mission, our daily work, convincing this person that he should invest in InRento, because it's okay, it's a little bit higher risk, but you get higher return. So this is our type of client. Because if you look at Europe in general, if you have a person who invests between 5,000 and 125,000 euros, he doesn't have many alternatives. Real estate is too expensive. He can invest in bank deposits, he can invest in insurance, insurance products. And besides that, obviously they can invest in stocks, but Europe has a very low financial literacy. So basically these people don't really have too many places where to invest. So this is our ideal customer. This is, the customer that we target. And this is the reason why, we are making real estate accessible, but not accessible to everyone. So what I mean by that is that, this is the reason why our minimum tickets is 500 euros, not 50 euros or 100 euros or 10 euros like some companies do. Our focus and goal is have maybe not the largest number of users, but largest portfolio per user, because what we can achieve then, we can give the client an experience which is very similar, to investing in funds and investing in investment brokerages. We have 7 days a week support. We have people who, our customer, investor relations people, they are licensed. So we are as a company licensed, but what I care that people who are dealing with clients, they would also have investment advisor licenses as well. So what it means that these people are really well educated and they understand the risks and they are credible and knowledgeable enough to basically give support to people.
This is what I wanted to ask as well. So when I heard about your minimum investment amount of 500 euros, for me, that was a sign that you wanted to popularize, to democratize, but also to bring down the financial savingness of your potential investors. And now you say that this is not the case. Then to prove this, or this proof maybe, here's a question I think might help us understand this a little bit better. How many investors of yours have invested in more than one project, in more than 5 projects on the platform? This type of yes,
more than one, everyone.
Oh wow, okay.
Except those that joined in December, but in general, no one joins just for one deal. And this is what we are targeting, because this is what I said before. People invest 50. There are a lot of platforms that offer 50 and 100 euros, and they collect people who invest 50 euros each month. What we do, we collect and target people who invest 500 euros each month. So this is the difference in strategy. Obviously, our strategy is flawed in that way that it's cheaper to acquire the 50 euro client than it is 500 euro client. But at the same time, our cost of managing them is smaller. So in the past, we did a platform where, everyone can invest 50 euros. And we just saw that basically from my standpoint, the this is mainly based only on my personal experience and my personal opinion, but I feel that the silver lining should be somewhere there in the middle, that you can not the most accessible one, maybe, but at the same time you can provide very good service for the client.
Yeah. Okay. And with this amount, you maybe insure yourself against non-experienced or rookie investors on the platform. Okay.
Exactly. This is one also like thing that we put a lot of focus. We care that our users would understand the risk, where they invest. So obviously this comes down to our higher minimum ticket, and additionally it comes down that we do risk assessment tests of each user. So each user needs to understand the risk before beginning to invest on our platform. So this is what we really put a lot of attention and effort on as well.
Gustas, great. Let's move on. Round two, competitors. Competitions are many, multitudes, should I say. We will not be able to go through them one by one, but as a whole, where do you see, again, maybe to sum up, your competitive edge related to competitors? And if you like to mention somebody that you really want to throw, your gauntlet at them, let's deal with them as well.
Look, like the definition of competitor in our industry is very broad, because like what we essentially do, we enable people to invest. So basically we compete against everyone in the financial industry. We compete against banks. But I guess if we narrow down, and where we essentially want to be in terms of positioning and in terms of competitors and who we compete against, we don't want to compete against crowdfunding platforms. And this is not who we position ourselves. We position ourselves as investment platform. What I'm trying to say by this, that usually crowdfunding platforms, they offer a higher return, higher risk product. So this is not what we are offering. We are looking somewhere there on the lower scale. So as we grow, obviously right now we have small competitors, which are buy-to-let platforms. They are not regulated. They are not providing, for example, they don't have the licenses. They don't provide the level of service that we provide. But as time will go, they will become irrelevant, because they are very, very small, even compared to us right now. And I think we will be somewhere between, bank deposits and between insurance products. So this is our goal. So this is who I want to compete against and be in the largest markets there is. Not to be in crowdfunding market, so to say, which is very limited and very limited number of people invest, but to be, in the largest market there is in the world financial market, and to compete against bank deposit products. Okay. This is where I want to be, and this is the level of expectation I set to myself and to my team.
Yeah. Before we move on, currently you focus on private investors. Somewhere down the road, do you see InRento growing into an attractive product for, should I say, B2B or institutional investors, or bigger asset managers, financial asset managers?
So I can tell you this way. We don't limit our user base to be only retail. We already have investors, partners who are considered institutionals or very high net worth individuals. So we are already serving them. But I feel that at least in the short term, in 3-4 years, this is not where our focus should be. Because look, there is a very clear product that I explained before in European market. People between 5K and 125K investable cash, they don't have many opportunities where to invest. So this is a very specific problem, and right now our goal is to solve it. If we start focusing, on and trying to sell for institutional investors, I think we will lose our momentum. Today we are here for the, this small investor to understand and serve his needs. as we grow bigger and our track record appears, I believe it's just a matter of time when the institutionals will come. Actually, not come, but more of them will come than there are today.
Okay. I think it would be interesting for your potential clients, but also potential investors and maybe employees at some level to understand your long-term strategy. And what you say right now is big enough a vision, should I say, because so many private investors or retail level of investors looking at their bank deposits right now and probably are not happy at all with what they see there, with all the potential or actual returns. And products like yours suggest something concrete, known, just to say it's good old brick and mortar through more smooth, let's say, and liquid digital channels, basically. Just to say, you open up doors to real estate investment to people that are motivated already by the external factors, basically, to at least give it a try, right, at platforms like yours. Gustas, thanks. Let's move on. Round 3, quick Q&A. You're a busy founder, co-founder, Shaolin. You passed Shaolin test already. And anyways, what are your productivity hacks that you could share with us? Not the tools, but the ways you do things, okay?
I do sports, and I always read a book before I go to sleep because it helps me to unwind. And I always listen to podcasts because it really helps me to fall asleep quickly after a long day. But these are the only 3 things I would say that it's like nothing, special. In general, I am this high energy person, and I don't have to listen to like motivational talks, to get myself going. Like how I view things right now, it's not like I have an option. You don't have an option when you do a startup. Like if you do a startup and you raise capital, you need to deliver the results. There is no time for later. There is no time I will do something tomorrow. You do it today until things are being done. And for myself, I cannot get restless. I cannot get rest, before I complete things. And it's also part of self-judgment. Like for me, I'm self-critical, and I will always consider that I fail to execute, and every month could be better. Even if it's a record one, we can push harder, move forward.
It's like you have to chew your glass looking down into the abyss, right? You remember this? Somebody said from the gurus, making a startup is like chewing glass, standing on the precipice of a huge abyss. Actually. So sports, what kind of sports?
Right now, just, gym. A lot of things change since, the pandemic. Before I used to play basketball, and do other sports, but right now, like our options are limited. So, I'm at least grateful that, right now it's -10 in Vilnius, and, I can go after, to a gym and work out, and it will not be freezing cold.
Yeah. Book. What's the current book you're reading that helps you fall asleep quick?
Books don't help me fall asleep quick, but basically podcasts do.
Because you know all of it, right? Is this the case? Like, because you know all of it, or you choose the podcast? This is really helping you avoid sleeping pills.
For me, it's like falling fast asleep helps, like listening to a basketball podcast or sport podcast.
I see. Okay.
It's just it just helps me fall asleep. It's like some sort of like a magic trick I found. Like before if I work a lot, I go to sleep like 2 hours. I lay, I cannot fall asleep. I think about work, about stuff. Now I listen like for 10 minutes and then I fall asleep.
I know this would help me as well. If I listen to a basketball podcast in Lithuanian, I would fall asleep maybe in 5 minutes.
If we speak about books, like I like reading like a lot about business and biographies, but I also love reading about history. So there is one book I'm now reading, which I highly recommend to you. I don't remember the name, but this author wrote also another book, which I also read recently. It's called Prisoners of Geography. So it basically explains the 21st century and the history of the countries based on the maps. So basically what maps and geography can tell about society and history and the politics of the country. So it's really, really interesting. Now there's a second part. So if you like want to be up to date and like to understand like how the global politics are being shaped, like I highly encourage you to read those two books. They're very entertaining and you learn a lot.
Gustas, let's agree you will follow up with a link or exact name of the books and authors. Okay, we'll put this into the description.
Okay.
I think that's interesting. And one last question here in this round: what exotic program, I mean application, tool, program you discovered that helps you a lot? You know, like on TikTok, there are like thousands of people that share with you a secret app that should be illegal and so on and so on. So not like Asana, Trello, you know, Slack, something really unique, exotic maybe that you discovered in you.
I am
like, wow.
You know, like now it's not exotic, but I think when I started using it, it was quite exotic back then. So it's Aura Ring.
Say it again.
Aura. I don't know if you know, it's like this ring that you have, like I have on my hand, and
Okay.
it's like your health tracker. So basically,
Rings a bell.
It analyzes your sleep. It analyzes like your energy, like your activity. So, I mean, I'm still not sure whether this actually helps, but it makes me feel like it's helping. So, so I think it could be. But I see a lot of entrepreneurs right now are buying, but it's really good. Like before, I used to have this problem that I would do too much sports and I would be tired. And basically, with this ring, I am able to focus more on rest. So basically, sleep and rest in general. So my general productivity levels have grown. I would say that.
Round 4, the company, and just to remind, InRento. So the founder, Gustas Germanavicius, is a repeat businessman, acquiring, exiting companies, basically. Tell us more about the company, the team right now. How many people, how many co-founders you have, and are you growing? Do you have any plans for recruitment for 2022?
So right now we are more or less 15 people. Most of the people work in the IT. I am founder of InRento. So basically, for the next year, we expect to grow the team also. Like if I think that I don't have the specific number because, you know, I don't hire people just for the sake of hiring them. So I would say that it would be safe to assume that, you know, our team will grow to maybe 25 or 30 people, but I don't have the specific number because essentially like what I found that, you know, you hire when you have the need, not just to hire for metrics or statistics.
Clear. So mostly are at the back end and coders, programmers. Do you have anybody on the front line, marketing, sales?
Yeah, you know, so we have I think now 7, 8 people team. So we have marketing, we have sales, we have product, we have people who assess risk, we have legal person. We also hire people locally, for example, in Germany for expanding like our affiliate network. So we have affiliates managers in Germany and abroad, you know, and we are growing. Like when obviously when we start in markets and like, for example, like in Germany, this was the same case. There's no need for us to hire like full-time person, you know, so we start gradually by, you know, finding someone if there is not enough work for full-time, and we scale it up. But sometimes, you know, just from the beginning, there is so much work that, you know, we can just take in the person full-time from the moment we start.
Yeah, of course, reasonable. As far as recruitment process, do you have any peculiar or interesting processes, procedures that you go through, or this is more of a?
You know, I would say that, you know, we do like I would say that the two strategies that are actually working is, first one, the HR agency. So basically we use headhunters because the business that we are in, like it's very similar to what you have with developers. It's the industry that we're in. It's not like 10 people will do the job, 10 times faster or better. In our case, we might much better hire a much senior person because he can do the job of 5 people. If we talk about risk assessment and, for example, legal processes, same for developers. So what we are hiring, we are focusing more on senior people. And for that, it's best headhunters, or in second way, it's asking people that we would hire, but they don't join for some reasons. Who would they recommend? So we found out that both of these strategies work. Like if you work in fintech and you are in Vilnius, like half of Vilnius works in fintech. So it's very competitive market. And if you want people like with background in asset management, investment brokerage, stuff like this, it's impossible to find people. So you're only left with these two strategies. And to be like very frank, I would say that for me, like until September, this was the biggest hassle. This was my key challenge and my main bottleneck for growth. Like right now, I think we figured this out for like next sort of stage. So now we're good to go. We have the process, we know how to hire, but I guess that when we will need to, increase these numbers, like let's say double or triple, we will run again into these challenges. But I guess, I'm not the only one who complains that there are no developers on the market, to hire. So I guess that, more or less a lot of startups are in position that I am in, and it's a startup, it's a constant challenge. Every day you have to do a challenge, but if you don't have a challenge, then you challenge yourself, for something. It's just the way it's on.
Yeah, nobody else to pass the responsibility to. Yeah, now with this in mind, with all the recruitment challenges and so on, and highly competitive Baltic human capital asset market, should I say, are you hiring? Are you open to hire people remotely? And
Yes.
to share, you are okay. Do you have currently technical guys working remotely or all in the office?
Not only technical. We as a team in Lithuania, we are only 5 people. Everyone is abroad. So basically, we need Lithuanian team only to service Lithuanian market.
I see. Okay.
We don't need Lithuanians, and I guess that the more people we bring, also with different backgrounds, the more it benefits to the growth of our company. So we have now people from like quite a few states in Europe.
Here's the tagline for this podcast: we don't need Lithuanians, says Gustas from InRento. Joking, of course. Let's move on. Last but not least, round 5, Formula F3. This is funding for the future. And before future, let's see where you stand as far as your historical dimension. I will go through a couple of milestones, and if anything is wrong, correct me, please. So by now, in 2 rounds, you've raised around 660,000 euros, and this is pre-seed and seed round, and organizations like Startup Wise Guys and Business Angels Fund, all local, right, have been involved, and this allowed you in the meantime to expand to Spain, but also do an acquisition of a bit of property. And now, what's your plan for the next round?
So we plan to raise a round of at least 1 million euros in early summer next year. So right now we are still growing the numbers and getting where we want to, and speaking with some investors. So also, just to clear things up, before previous your comment, is like not all our investors are from Lithuania. We have funds investing from abroad, like Hong Kong, and we have investors also from UAE. So we are going global. What we've been doing until now, and what I want to continue doing, we are not looking only for capital just for money. There's a lot of money in the market, and you can just go and collect it, and it's not that hard. What we are looking for value investors. So basically, someone who will create us value. So all the investors who are in our cap table, they are either real estate brokers, real estate developers, traders, investment brokers, people who exited or participated in exits of 100 million euros or billions companies. So, you know, we are like the investors that backed us, you know, they create to us value besides money. And this is our goal going further, because, you know, just to get money, you can get money, but is money always the answer? No, like obviously, like as I told you, we have a challenge of, you know, we had the challenge of hiring employees. So basically, if an investor can help with that, you know, it reduces, you know, the challenges and responsibilities you have as a founder.
And all the UAE or Hong Kong investors that you mentioned, they are private investors, right? I mean, physical persons rather than VCs or established organizations or something.
These are private investment
Angels,
companies,
right? Okay, private investment companies. Okay.
So this would be a better definition of the
VCs, or they are more on the real estate kind of investment side, like funds.
I would say very broad.
Okay,
I would say like it's people are highly experienced and with like investment products in general. So
and last thing, this Series A, I guess, right? This would be Series A at 1 million or so.
I mean, like,
or whatever. Yeah, whatever. Let's say this next financing, whatever. Yeah, having
you see companies doing pre-seed, seed, and then pre-seed of 7 million. So it's like I think that lately you can just call it how you want it. So
yeah, true.
The next round.
Next round, yes, indeed. There was a switch in states, for instance. Whatever was considered to be Series A amounts, right now it's pre-seed, and like a huge inflation, you could say, on the VC market there. Maybe not yet felt here in Central Eastern Europe, but at least that's the trend. Gustas, that's been a pleasure. We have to wrap up now. Thank you very much for your time. And good luck with your further expansion in Europe. You created your foreposts in the two extreme, let's say, locations in European, and you just have to fill in the gap with the platform and your footprint. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. All the best. Bye.